that 1973, that campaign started with raising awareness among the population that there's a danger, the Tutsis are back.
We had chased them, but we haven't finished them.
They have not finished them. So they started with schools. When we came back to the dormitories, we found a list saying, so and so and so, these Tutsis should leave the campus before midnight.
Were you on the list?
Yes. So when we sneaked out, we moved through the exit and we found a crowd there. So we find them there, waiting, cutting, with knives and spears. They threw us on the ground. They started beating us. So all of a sudden, we felt somebody is lifting us and running. They go.
Who was that person?
Bizimungu.
This is the very, very best. I introduce the very, very next. Big deal. You know this is the big league. Unsanga mumihanda ya Kigali mega big fish. Word on the street turakaze. Habari gani mumeze mute. Yutse nshima imana kuva honda mukiye. If you want the long form, come close and rabure. Wait, what?
The long form.
What did he say?
The long form.
What?
The long form.
The long form. The long form.
Hello there. My guest this week on the Long Form podcast is Dr. Emile Rwamasirabo. A surgeon by training, Dr. Emile is more than just a medical professional. He's been the Vice Chancellor of the National University of Rwanda and has led the biggest hospitals in Rwanda. In this week's conversation, we discuss life under Kayibanda, his life in exile, his experience as a surgeon during the War of Liberation, as well as the lessons he's learned being part of the RPF.
Hey, before we get started, almost 70% of you who watch this podcast haven't subscribed yet. If you've been enjoying these conversations and want us to bring even bigger guests and tell even better stories, that simple click really helps us grow this community. It's free for you, but it means everything for us. So hit that subscribe button, join the community, and let's get into today's episode.
Dr. Rwamasirabo, my friend, welcome to the Long Form.
Thank you, Sunny, for coming here.
Yeah. We are here, we're recording this on the 2nd of October, 2025. Now, a day before today, October 1st, almost 35 years ago, it was a big day in our history. That was when the RPA, left Uganda, led by the late Major General Rwigema, and decided to end the plight of the Rwandan refugee. What does this day, what did yesterday mean to you?
1st of October 1990 was indeed, some of us, was indeed an event that we're looking forward. Many of us didn't know how it's going to look like, but we believe it will come. And we were fortunate to be among the people that are preparing for it. But across the world, there was that dream that was becoming a reality to many refugees across East Africa, across Africa and Europe, And I believe also North America, when many also of our Rwandese community was living. That's it. So when 1st of October eventually came, there was that movement, that adrenaline that came out from everyone that the day. People were ready to leave whatever they were doing and they just move and join. That's what it meant. That is, it is a community event that touched everyone who was adult that time.
Where were you on that day?
That day I was in Kampala.
Mm.
Yeah, I was
Doing
in
what?
Kampala. Doctoring.
Mm.
I knew the date has come, but I went back to my job in the hospital, in Mulago Hospital, waiting to be
Deployed.
called. And while I was doing my, what do you call, ward round, moving with the doctors and nurses looking at patients. So I saw one of our cadres, by the way, it was Angel. He found me on the ward and said,
Who?
Angel, you know him?
Mm-mm. Angel who?
And he...
What was his name?
Okay, it will come. I guess I forgot. He said, time has come. So I had to tell my colleagues, I have an emergency somewhere, have to leave. So that was it.
So wait, so I fully understand. So you were not aware, you weren't aware that things were being planned or that things would happen that day. You just went to work normally.
I knew the date has come.
Okay.
I knew the date, but I didn't know it was going to be that date.
So you knew it was around that time.
Yeah, I knew something is coming, but I knew in that morning that things has come. Don't ask me how I knew it, but I knew it had happened.
Yes.
But I went back to work because I need to wait for deployment.
Yeah.
It was part of a system. And that's how it happened.
Unlike myself, you were not born in Uganda.
No.
You were born
In Rwanda.
in Rwanda. 1951 in Nyaruguru, southern province.
Yep.
So this is a time you were born during, Belgian colonization. What do you remember from your childhood? What was that time like? Take us to that place.
Of course, you say I was a young child in the 50s. In the 50s, I was living with my grandmother. My grandmother was a widow, and according to what used to happen in Rwanda, she would pick one of the boys in the families, and we will become her husband. That was, they used to call it. So I was living with my grandmother in Nyaruguru. And what I was seeing, we didn't see a lot of Belgians there. We used to see priests, few priests, and also what they used to call muhashi, where mobile doctors or so-called doctors. Nobody knew exactly what they are.
Were they white?
They're white. They would move on motorbikes and give injections. This was to use. We used to see them giving injection using the same syringe, the same needle, just giving injection to people. By the way, I never got any of those injections because my grandmother was opposed to that. So I never got an injection from them.
So you've not been immunized?
I think I was immunized later. Later. Because I never, unless they did it when I was a baby. Because I've really never seen these people. I mean, giving medication to any close relative or my grandmother. So,
why do you think she was like that?
I think, the people of that age were fundamentally very suspicious about the colonialists, very suspicious. She resisted even baptism until she was unconscious. They baptized her when she was almost unconscious. So it was not unusual for people that age to feel extremely suspicious about the colonial rulers. It was widespread sentiment.
Now, so there's a date that I think will live in infamy in Rwanda. That's a year, 1959. That's when the very first refugee crisis befell our beautiful land. What was that? Because at that time you're about 8 years old.
Yeah.
So you're seeing things. You're maybe not fully conscious of the politics behind things, but you may be seeing movement. What was 1959 like in Nyaruguru?
Well, I was seeing things that I saw. I remember we used to see planes distributing, leaflets, dishing out leaflets, asking people, telling them about elections.
So there were airplanes, or
yes, airplanes, yes, small ones. That one I remember very well. Also,
was that your first airplane that you ever saw?
Yeah, yeah. And also helicopters. You could see helicopters flying. What we did, I didn't know what they were doing, but I heard later on they participated in shooting in Nyaruguru, because in Nyaruguru there was one other thing that I remember. I could see smoke here and there of house, burning houses. I remember that very well. But we also heard, we didn't know what it was, but the helicopters were shooting somewhere at a distance. We learned later on they were shooting at people that had decided to resist the people that had come. They had brought people from outside our place to start burning houses. So people resisted. They called in helicopters to come and disperse them. So, but of course, we heard about those. We did not see. But that's how Nyaruguru was. Otherwise, before 1959, the life the way it was, the way I saw it, there were no vehicles. So we used to see motorbikes. We used to see a few vehicles, but we would move long distance on foot. We're going to church in Kibeho on foot. Would walk and cross rivers you know, and you would walk like 20 kilometers
To go to church.
to a church and come back. So there was no telephone, no electricity, of course.
Where are you going to school?
In just the hill across. You would just move down to the valley and go to the top of the hill.
Was it like were you studying under trees? Was it
No.
a proper school? Was it a church school? What was that?
We are very
education like?
lucky to have a school. With building and chairs and it was a good school. Even now, I visited it.
Oh, it's still there. What was it called?
It's changed a little bit. Mbasa Primary School. There was a road. So cars would come over there, but there were few.
Would you call your childhood a happy childhood?
Very happy. Very happy. It was really, we didn't see like violence. We didn't see bad blood among people. The people that were living there, we were not hearing about people's so-called ethnic naming. We didn't hear very much. People being named as Hutus and Tutsis, we didn't hear very much. We knew they were there, but who was Hutu, who was Tutsi, it was not very clear. For example, I remember, somebody will say, Uriya no Muhutu wa. But it didn't mean that guy is a Hutu. It means it was some kind of class relationship. He's affiliated to this one. In Rwanda at that time, what they used to call uhake was a relationship between people. If we didn't have identity cards, if you want to inquire about Sani Hayombia, they would say Yahatswe kwa. So he's affiliated to this person. So you don't know this is Sani. This is where he belongs to.
Yes.
So that was that kind of relationship. And gwako kwa, meaning being a subject of so and so, was a sign of respect. If you belong to no network, then you're
alone.
You're alone. So that's how the society was organized. Meaning, if words were kwa, there was an interaction, not only social interaction, but you'd also get exchange of cults. And that was a link. And it did not mean that you are a Hutu or Tutsi. It would mean that you belong to that place. There was another rituals during their religious rites, the traditional one, kubandwa. It was some kind of secret practice among the people. And what was really, I didn't see, but I knew my grandmother had a group that they would meet.
So what exactly was this kubandwa?
It was kind of a network based on beliefs, on the religious beliefs. We were told they would exchange blood, kumwana. They would actually do.
What do you mean?
They would be kind of traditional cuts and blood coming out. They would exchange it. The way they would exchange it, I don't know.
No.
I have never been there. But this would create ties, very important ties, irrespective of your social class, which was stronger than any other ties that we knew. Of course, that practice was banned by the colonial power, and especially the church, because it was something that they don't control. And it was there. And even today, there are people that still do it. What it is, I can't tell you much, because these are some of the
rituals and
the
secrets.
things that were kept secret and banned by the colonial powers, and therefore the people of my generation, have no access to what it was and what it's meant to.
Which is kind of sad, because it would have been, you are our fathers.
Yeah.
And traditions are usually handed down from grandfathers to fathers, from fathers to their sons. Now, what you're telling me almost seems like there's a cleavage between your grandma and now, say, myself, where there were traditions that made her a particular type of Rwandan. And then there's us. It kind of, it sounds a bit sad to me, because it sounds like we lost a lot of things that made us, created our society.
Yeah. No, there's a gap. There's a gap between our parents and ourselves, because we went to school. We went to school. So when you go to school, you get another education, another type of education. You don't get the one from home. I remember my grandmother, even I was a kid, but I could hear, telling me and telling people of her ancestry. It was to go very far. So many people, Sani, Nayombia, of Focus, and they would go. And of course, I don't remember very well, but I kept interest at finding out who she was naming. And today, I realize in my own family, and I think I am the one who really remembers some of those. Unless my brothers and sisters who were living in their family some kind of colonial life, because they were civil servants, and they lost that. Between us and your generation, the gap is even wider. The gap is much wider. So it is something that is, I think we should, it is something we should revive. It's something we should find out. We should study. We should, because that's the foundation of who we are today. When you say no Munyarwanda, indeed no Munyarwanda, but we need to substantiate. We need to provide more content to that. But when we say do Munyarwanda, everyone feels what it means. But I guess people like you must be wondering what is in there.
The articulation of that concept, I think, is the curiosity. You know, we have it almost. Sometimes I feel that we are almost like ships adrift. We know where we we think we know where we want to go, but we don't really know where we've come from. And so sometimes the winds, we're almost, we go where the wind blows. And it's sad. And when people of your generation, when you sit down as groups, do you sit down and talk about these things and say, okay, how do we bring back those aspects of the Rwandan identity? Because asking me to do it, it might be tricky. I don't even know that. I don't even have the language. You know, I'm a child of refugees. I was born a refugee. I don't even know Kwangwa and this and that. Do you ever sit down with your colleagues and peers and sit down and say, okay, what can we do?
We indeed do. Of course, you'd be surprised to know that the same challenge you come through at your generation, even people of my generation have the same. You find, especially those that went to school, many of us went through missionary schools, so we have had another cultural teaching, faith-based teaching of what the past was. And you find the content of what we want to know from where we came from is not there within our generation. The older ones that did not go to the modern schools, often we find that class gap. It requires really to go and search and find who are the people who still remember. That's how it is. So when we are lucky to have people who still remember, you find it's really something you cannot just transact through one or two conversations. It requires a deliberate move to do it. There are still people who wrote about this. I'm sure you know about late Bishop Kagame. Padri Kagame wrote extensively about oral tradition. Though he's been accused of writing for the royal the royal institution, but still, it has a great contribution. You should also remember about Bishop Bizimungu. He was more independent-minded, though he was a Catholic bishop, but he wrote about the rights and traditions of Rwanda. You should really try and get a copy. I'm not sure, maybe at Kiri's library you can get some of his writing, but he wrote extensively about those traditions. And these are some of the things that even those small ones that our school system should really bring it up and make it accessible to the majority of Rwandans. Otherwise, we are very fortunate as Rwandans because we have had the opportunity. We have space today to get back to talk about this. There are other places where they have no spaces. especially in African countries. We have that space to bring it back. Whatever we can do, we'll do. The definition of Ndumunyarwanda was easy, relatively easy to bring about, irrespective who you are. You are refugees, you are people who never went to became refugees who are here. When you talk about Ndumunyarwanda, at least the concept, the formal concept is there. And it is something that also it reminds me of one occurrence in I think August 1994. Was it August or July? One of those July. You remember when there was cholera in Goma? Because of cholera, a lot of people who had fled in June came back in big numbers, actually running away from cholera. We were driving down to entering into Gisenyi town, Rubavu. You know that place coming down. So we saw a group of people that were coming. They were about 10, 15. So we stopped by and said, hello, how are you? Good. Where are you coming from? We're coming from Goma. But where did you go there? 2 weeks ago. Why did you go there? Well, we were told to flee the country because the cockroaches are coming to kill us. So why are you coming back? They said we find it safe and we don't want to die there. So we said, what are you going to do now? They said, we're going to sit and see how to build our country. I said, what? We're going to elect our leader and see how we're going to build our country. I said, my God.
But there are contradictions because they fled worried to be killed by these cockroaches. They get to the other side. There's a pandemic of cholera. They say, you know what? Better to die home. But not only are we actually going to die home. No. They're like, what we're going to do, we'll settle and we will restart our state.
So, which I think I was really surprised by this statement. So what do you mean? You think we cannot live without ubuyobozi, meaning leadership?
Yes.
Oh. So I said to myself, you know, these people, I used to listen to Radio Rwanda that time. And there was a discussion, there's a time during the Arusha negotiations, there were discussions about, these people are coming back to Rwanda, how are we going to be living together? You know, they were asking people in the villages. So they were saying, well, these people are Rwandans. We're going to live together and see how we build our country. For me, it was really a surprise. That was a surprise to me. That's why I think, despite the negative ideologies, in the background, there is a sense of ownership of whatever Rwanda is. Yeah.
But we're talking about this, but then the things that had happened in your life. 59, is that when you left the country for the first time?
And I think,
End of 59. Why did you leave? What exactly? I know that there was obviously the Parmehutu mobs, and you're talking about airplanes and shootings. But obviously that was in some other hill.
Yes.
Eventually, I'm thinking the violence started getting closer and closer to you. Was that the case?
Yes. We did not, within our the hills, the immediate surrounding hills, there wasn't any violence yet. But because there was a lot of killings in the country, so we had to leave that place. We had to leave that place because, if we were attacked, obviously there was no ready mechanism to defend ourselves. So that's how we left. How it was organized, I can't tell you much, but we left.
Who did you live with?
We went to Burundi.
No. Who did you live with? So was your grandmother still alive at the time?
No.
So you had gone back to...
Yes, we went back. I went back to the family, and there are people that stayed there. The way societies were organized, people would be living at a place, a hill, and the neighboring hills. The neighboring hills would be inhabited by close relatives or people that you have interacted with for some time. So when you leave, there are always people around who stayed behind. And indeed, they were stayed behind. And unfortunately, they wiped out during those different phases of violence since 1959 till 1994. The majority of them actually were killed in 1994.
So end of 59, you go with your family to Burundi.
Yes.
Now you're in Burundi, unlike some of us, some of our parents, many of them after 1959, they were gone for good. You did not actually stay in Burundi forever.
No.
1964, you go back home.
1964, but we didn't. We came home through. My dad was, as I said, was a sub-chief, sous-chef in Rwanda.
No, you never actually said that. Okay.
Yes, it was.
Interesting.
So sub-chiefs were civil servants. He had gone to school, to the seminary. He had studied Grand Seminary. He was almost a priest. He was pulled out of the seminary, almost the priesthood, because his brother, older brother, that means my dad, passed away. So the family pulled him from the seminary to come and marry my mother. Yes. So
wait. So your father actually passed away. And
2 months before he was born.
Before you were born, but by the time, obviously, your mom was pregnant.
I had 2 older brother.
My mom was pregnant with you. And then your dad's younger brother,
my uncle,
right, who was going to be a priest, is pulled out to be given a wife.
Wife and family. That was the tradition.
Wait. Okay, help me understand that. What was the tradition? Was that?
No, it was not. It was common. It was common for if you died with a young family to make arrangement in the family so that one of the boys would come and perpetuate the family and, marry the young mother and educate the children within the family. That was common practice.
I had no idea.
But ask people around,
Yes.
this used to happen.
It was quite normal.
Yeah.
Did you ever ask because I think pretty much he raised you as a son.
Sure.
Did you ever ask him his thinking at the time? I'm trying to put myself in his position. You've decided that, this is how you want your life to be, right? And obviously you love your brother, you love your nieces. Now, all of a sudden you're pulled out. You're not even mentally ready. Maybe you had your own desires and dreams for how your life would be. And then you said, no, this is what you're going to do now. Did you ever have a chance to talk to him and actually try to make sense of his thinking at the time? Did you ever talk to him? Did you ever get a chance to ask him about that?
No, to be honest, no. By the way, I used to be, people of my age there are some certain things you don't feel comfortable asking your dad. The relationship with our dad was not that kind of level. We would interact on, from what I remember, some kind of strategic issues rather than personal feelings. It was not really, I don't know anybody of my age who would interact, who would ask that question to their dad. I don't know.
Not even as you got older. Because I think there must be some level of curiosity.
Yep, did.
How do you make sense of this new world?
Even, the people that I asked my mother how she met with my father. They had never met before. They had seen each other from a distance. He used to visit one of his friends. And then my uncle. He used to go there during holidays because he was also going to school. And during holidays, he would stay even a week at that place. But he would never meet the sisters. But he had seen my mother from a distance. And my mother had seen him. Then they came to ask, the Kumusaba introduction. It has been arranged in the family between the brother, the aunties, until the marriage. So that's how they had never met before.
They had never exchanged two words.
So they took her to my dad's house.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she found herself there.
So if you ask, I asked her, what did you feel? Did you like him? She said, yes, he used to be. I could see him joking from a distance, and I liked him. That was it. But today it is unthinkable. When you try to get a young man interested in a young lady that they have never met before, They find it very strange, and yet it's doable. We used to, when we were in exile, for some reason, the majority of us were males. So there was an issue where you get
A bride.
a bride. So we used to arrange, If, for example, you're in Europe and the girls are in Africa, you used to arrange with your family members to identify the girl. Many people would go on holidays for a month.
From Europe.
And they had to make sure the identification and acceptance of the bride and the actual ceremonies take place within that holiday. And people would go back
With a wife.
That's how it used to be. I know many people who are like they're still together.
Thank you, Kigali Marriott Hotel, for providing a venue for the long-form podcast to record. At the heart of Kigali's hospitality, Kigali Marriott offers everything from luxury stays to premier event spaces, fine dining, and top-tier conference facilities. Keep up with them at Kigali Marriott on socials and visit their website, www.marriott.com. Because one of the things that I think we're dealing with as society now is broken homes, the divorce rates. We're doing all the things that we're supposed to do, which is, you meet a girl somewhere, and you go on dates, and then you have an engagement, and then you go through all these ceremonies. But somehow the numbers, the success rates are quite, not low, but they're not as, the success rates are not as good as we'd like them to be. Yes. Someone will, yeah, let me see if I can be a bit mischievous. Do you think, because you have daughters, do you think that we should go back to maybe the older way of doing things, which is families come together, identify a young man, identify a young lady, and bring them together? The way your parents were?
The things have changed. And things people have evolved into different personalities with expectations that are different. But I have that feeling that a combination of the two is not bad. For example, I believe it would be good to advise the husband or the bride to be, whether two of you are compatible, taking into account different factors, not only your personalities, but to your surroundings, your families, the values. I think it's beneficial. I have that perception. That's good. So what it means practically, if you, a young man or a young woman, if you should not feel shy of getting advice. Today, when you talk to young people, they laugh. They think it is backward. These are things of the. But I believe it is beneficial to all of you, the two of you, to have an advice. If you want to have somebody to live with for your life, I wouldn't take it as a backward thing to get advice from my, my surroundings, not necessarily my parents. My parents might not know those, but families and friends. I think it is positive. It is positive.
Let's go back to 59. We did a bit of a detour, but so you go to Burundi. What was that like? Because you were in Burundi for about 5 years.
Yes.
As exiled.
Four, yeah.
Yeah. What was the refugee experience like in Burundi? 59 to 64.
Well, I was a kid, so kids like change.
You were happy.
You were happy because you say you leave Nyaruguru, you go to Bujumbura. Bujumbura that time was a city with beaches, with a lot of Belgians, hotels.
So you didn't go to the camps?
No. Didn't go to. We stayed in Bujumbura. My dad was a civil servant in it was called Bank of Rwanda Burundi. Was kind of national bank, but for the two countries together. He was working with the bank. So we settled in Ngagara. Ngagara, that was the place for, let's say, local middle class.
Yes.
So there were a lot of Congolese. The majority of people there were Congolese. By the way, the Congolese were the civil servants in Burundi. They're the ones that you find in the government ministries. The Burundians had not yet been educated to go into the civil service, the post office, the banks, and they were mainly Congolese that had come with Belgians. And a lot of people from Kasai, the Baruba, in the civil service. Somehow, like the British colonies had brought a lot of Baganda into the civil service in colonial Uganda. It was somehow the same. So even the classes, the majority of students were Congolese.
Yes.
Of course, coming from Nyaruguru, landing in a classroom full of Congolese was very, very interesting because a lot of fighting. Fighting was one of the functions at 4. The classes would end at 4. And after 4, the people would go to fight in the
Fighting about what?
on the playground. This group against that group. That was a common practice. I still remember some of the Rwandese that I found in that school. We became friends. And some of them are still here.
Yeah.
And they sometimes talk about those fights.
Were you guys participating in the fights?
Depending on when we engaged, because the Congolese would sometimes say, we're going to fight Banyarwanda. So when we had just arrived, they would beat us up because we used to really fight with their heads until we discovered sticks in Honi. So when we discovered sticks, we became untouchable.
Yeah.
They fear sticks. So that's how life was. Of course, I didn't have a lot of political awareness. We were kids. But we could see that when we were there, I said in civil service you had Congolese. Next, second will be Rwandans.
In the civil service?
Yes, then Burundians. So when Burundians started going to school, graduating, they gradually came to occupy those positions. That's how it evolved. And of course, when they became able to join the civil service, the Rwandans somehow lost their position.
Of course.
Yeah. But one thing that that time, not everybody had a job. Remember, many of the people that fled came from Rwanda, they didn't come from cities. They were living in the countryside with the economies of those countryside. They had their cows. They have their lands. They are comfortable the way they are, grazing their cows, getting their milk. They are happy. So all of a sudden, they are relocated in a city in Burundi with nothing. So imagine what happened to those families. Many of them not very educated, but educated according to the Rwanda time. They had left everything behind and integrated, in a cash-based economy. Imagine the hardship people went through. And it was very tough. It was very tough. And people still remember those times. So people who, refugees that were settled in the refugee camps, they were settled, when you think about what is happening, the UN and whatever, it's difficult to understand because they were settled in a very hostile environment. Very hostile environment with the bushes with wild animals to compete with wild animals. The people that, for example, were settled in Moshia, they are fighting the lions. The people that settled in Ruzizi Plain, they died in thousands because the malaria-infested place that was well known. And you really wonder how does a UN organization
send them there?
So when you see this distrust and very low confidence into this UN organization, the UNHCR and the UN. There is a past. There is a past,
There's a trauma.
There's that trauma, that makes people remember that period. Because that was obviously the best place. It's not the best place to put people. It wasn't. So people died in thousands because of malaria. I could remember they used to bring them in Bujumbura city to resettle them, some within the families. All families accepted people from there dying with malaria. So those are some of the memories that of that period that you definitely can't forget. And it raised, even when you're a kid, it raised a sense of not being well. as a family, as a society, because you have your relatives in those camps, and you know what is happening there.
Yeah. You know, your father made an interesting choice. So those who don't know, in Rwanda, the administration of Kayibanda has come into power, Parme Hutu, so just Hutu supremacy and dictatorship. Your father, interestingly enough, decided to leave exile in a Bujumbura that you could say was comfortable. You know, he was a civil servant. It was comfortable-ish. To then go back home to Rwanda. I'd like to understand, why do you think he chose that? Why did he make that decision?
You know, that time was when the bank split into two.
Into Burundi and Rwanda.
So the creation of National Bank of Rwanda was that period. And it was something supported by the World Bank and the IMF. So the IMF and the World Bank was involved in the creation of the National Bank of Rwanda. Apparently, there are no people, qualified people, in Rwanda, and yet there were Rwandese refugees in Burundi into the National Bank
of Burundi.
So the guy who was appointed as the governor of the National Bank of Rwanda at that time, 1963, I think, was a Japanese.
Our first
one was a
is
Japanese.
actually Japanese. Wow.
This was called Hattori. So, by the way, I had the opportunity to meet with his family.
Really?
When I went to Japan as ambassador later on.
Yes.
So that guy came to Burundi, met with the Rwandese refugees that were working in the bank, and I negotiated with them. And one of the things was he gave assurance of security. So coming from the World Bank, the IMF, with all the weight of these guys in Rwanda, some people accepted they could go and be appointed at good positions. So my father came in and was appointed in the National Bank here. At that time, I believe also Mr. Birara was also in the central bank. He's still alive here in Kimihurura.
Interesting.
Was at the bank. So that's how we came in. So I don't think it was, there was a bit of, negotiation. That's how he came.
And now, so I'm assuming that you then moved to Kigali.
Yes. We moved to Kigali that time. But as soon as we came, what had been promised, the security that has been promised, we discovered it wasn't there. Because within a few months, the Mzee was taken to jail. And I was a kid, but I remember when they came for him, they came at about 3 a.m. with guns and knives.
For what reason?
They said
what was the charge?
They were looking for the king's pictures. So all the mattresses were opened, all the books were just, destroyed. And I remember I was a kid, but they took my suitcase, which was my late father's legacy. And I could see the guy who took it was looking at it, and he just charged it. I could see he had been looking at it, and I still remember his face. He charged he got it. He just wanted to have it. He said he's going to pack all the papers and go look for the king's pictures.
Was it around the time of the so-called Inyenzi incursions?
Yes.
So by this time you were pretty much a teenager. So
I came here. I came back when I was in. I left Burundi when I was primary 5, I think, because there had been some delay. Because
obviously.
Yes, primary 5, and moved to in Butare. There was a boarding school, famous boarding school. That time was called Injetura. Injetura means, children who go to play outside, sweat and get dirty and come back home looking like a street boy. That boarding school, it was very famous that time. So that's why I went for my boarding, senior 5.
But your father was based in Kigali.
Yes, my family, yeah.
You now you still live in Kigali, or you live in Kimihurura. Where exactly in Kigali at that time did you guys live?
We were living at Kyovu. I'm not sure the houses are still there, but it was probably slightly below the State House.
Saint Michel.
Yes, slightly below that. And the people next to us, downwards, was Matoke, and it was really a rural place.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes I see old pictures of Kigali, and
where the hotel parking is. They were below our place, parking hotel.
Yeah,
but it was the countryside. People were farmers and just.
It was pretty much. It sounds like a village. It was a village.
It was a village. The only road, Tamak Road, was from the old Beka.
Beka, that is
commercial bank. No, not Beka. Commercial Bank of Kigali, BCR, the former BCR, to Kigali. That was the only.
So that's pretty much between.
Yeah.
Because BCR, that's his INM bank now. So it's between the KCC,
it was between the roundabout.
Yes.
To Kigali.
Kigali, which exists today.
At the gate.
That was the only tarmac in the whole country. In the whole country.
Then they built this one from BCR to the airport later. But when you start living in Kigali, that was the only road.
Every so often, I wonder about, the Belgian colonization in Rwanda especially. And, I sometimes I feel that of all the colonialists that Rwanda could have been under, we literally got the worst of the worst. Think about it.
No, I'm not surprised really, because
we really got the worst of the worst.
When I hear some of the thinking in terms of education, for example, in Rwanda, you can see that the expansion of education came after 1994. In 1994, at the university, the university was created in 1963.
University of Rwanda.
Rwanda. 30 years down the road, only 200 doctors were trained.
In 30 years?
30 years. So you ask yourself, why? Why?
Why indeed?
Why indeed? You see, I used to hear, and that was the typical Belgian conceptualization of education in the colony and post-colonial states, because they are the ones providing technical support to the ministries. They were saying, we shall first get all Rwandans have a primary education, and then we shall develop secondary education. Then the university will come later. That was it. And when you look at the kind of education at the university, just to give you about the university, but also gives you a picture of what high school was, the secondary education was like. I joined the university as a rector in 1996. 80% of subjects were literature, social sciences only. Few students in sciences. But when you look back into the secondary education, it was exactly the same thing. Same thing. So you say, how come? We need engineers, we need agronomists, we need doctors, we need... How come they were not represented?
How come?
It was, it was not really a coincidence, because we know colonial education was segregating some subjects like science and technology based across the colonies. The colonies were supposed to train clerks, you know it.
People who can take notes.
Yes, who can take notes.
And follow orders.
That's it. So it continued. Even the countries that have not been able to overcome that gap by themselves, it is still going on. But in Rwanda, come 1994, that's how it was. When I was appointed as the rector of the university in 1998, I asked to be allowed to visit other universities to understand how you take orientation for, a vision of other universities, how do you run them, by the way, because that was not given. I remember visiting some of the universities in East Africa, Makerere, Dar es Salaam, Nairobi, and I realized how many, for example, doctors have been trained in Makerere, 1,500. Even University of Dar es Salaam, that was created in 1973. They had trained many doctors than we did, a lot of engineers. So I asked myself, that's the difference between the East Africa and Rwanda. And the only explanation was colonial legacy.
The Belgians versus the British.
Yeah.
No, it's like I said, and even today, sometimes I wonder about our relationships as states, because right now, as we speak, We don't have diplomatic relations. You know, sometimes I think that because the leadership of today, fortunately, was not trained by the Belgians, the Belgian political establishment cannot make sense of these Rwandans. You know, they know the other ones. They know the Kayibandas, they trained them. They know the Habyarimanas, they trained, and they knew how to deal with those. It's these new Rwandans that
they're not comfortable with.
Very, and you see it. You see it with how they report about us, even and not just at the state level, even media, academia. You know, that whole Belgian establishment is extremely uncomfortable.
Sure. No, it's for me. There's no doubt about it. As a matter of fact, these colonial powers are very uncomfortable when you disrupt the post-colonial order, because there is an order.
Their order.
Because those that believe that after independence we started becoming independent, thinking independently, it's not true. There was the independence given to African colonies was out of goodwill by the colonial power. Somehow they were forced to accept independence, but they also forged the post-independence systems. Those leaders that looked very independent, by the way, all of them were exterminated. If you look at the Belgian colonies.
So you have Prince Rwagasore, Patrice Lumumba, and Rudahigwa.
So, and they were exterminated same period.
Exterminated by who?
By the colonial powers. Though you'd ask me, for Patrice Lumumba and Prince Rwagasore, it was more brutal, more open. For Rudahigwa, he was killed. We were told he got allergy to penicillin when he went to take up
in
with his doctors before traveling to outside. They said he was sitting with the other Rwanda dignitaries in a hotel. And he said, let me go and do my checkup with the doctors and back.
With his doctors?
Yeah.
So were his doctors Belgian?
Belgian.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Then this is me. I know the answer, but, and this is what I mean. I'm sure that by the time that you're now going into the late 50s, there's that independence movement after the end of the Second World War. There's that, there's that movement to self-determination across the world, in Asia and Africa as well. As Black people, we should have identified who our enemies are. How is it possible that a national leader would have a doctor who knows all his secrets being a citizen of an enemy state? You get what I'm saying? You're literally taking yourself to your executioner. Do you think we were naive? Do you think he was naive as the king to just take himself there?
it would be difficult to put myself in his shoes today. Even looking at, I would ask myself, why didn't you have a Rwandan doctor? I just realized there was no Rwandan doctor, which by itself, it tells a lot of stories. So colonize a country for years, and you find after 60 years, there's no single doctor from that country. What does it tell? It tells a lot. So I just realized there was no single Rwandan doctor to be the physician of the king.
But he couldn't have even...
What?
I don't know.
I tried to be pragmatic and see
maybe
what could have done.
He might have been able to bring in an expert from the colonies, from camp.
Remember the
Uganda
de facto rulers of Rwanda were the Belgians.
Yes. He had no real power.
Even the king could not move out of Rwanda without the permission of Belgians. Let alone bringing expert doctor at the royal palace.
To take care of him. So he was surrounded by his enemies.
Yeah.
So he goes to Bujumbura. I assume that's where he was catching his plane.
Yes. He goes.
Where was he going?
I'm not sure. People...
I've heard stories that he was like going to the UN.
I'm not sure where he was going, but people know. People know. People obviously know. But he goes to Bujumbura, goes to with his chiefs in a hotel Pagidas. Pagidas was the main city hotel there. That was owned by a Greek, I think. So he leaves them in the hotel, says, okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm going to do a checkup with my doctor before traveling. So next thing they hear, he's dead. So the official explanation was he got allergy due to penicillin.
Was there an autopsy?
There wasn't. You cannot have a person of that rank die of premature death and no autopsy is done. No data is provided. And you'd argue that even if they did it, who would do it? Who would do it? Who would do it, by the way?
Do you actually believe that his doctor poisoned him?
That one,
maybe there might not be evidence.
As a doctor, it's against all the ethical, but it's difficult to rule it out. When you see his colleagues, heads of state, dying, all of them during the same period, you can ask yourself, what is this?
Do we know the name of that Belgian doctor?
Yes, Dr. Vink. Everybody knows.
Yes.
So I guess, I'm not sure about what I'm saying, but I guess the data, why was he given penicillin? Because what we know, people get allergy to medicine when normally somebody who was given the same medicine some time back and reacted to it and is known allergic to that drug. Was he known allergic to that drug? This is the kind of data you want to know as a post-mortem. Post-mortem is not only opening and examining the organs, but the history. If, for example, you are allergic to penicillin, you normally know it. And when you go to see the doctor, I'm allergic to penicillin. So meaning you've been injected penicillin before and you know it, you reacted. So was that notification
shared
to ask? Because you normally ask before giving an injection as a doctor, you ask, are you allergic to any drug? So that data should be provided. Was it provided? I've never heard of it.
Do you think that a doctor, a Belgian doctor, but a doctor nevertheless, would risk their medical license to kill a head of state? Because there's also a risk.
Yep.
You know that that a doctor could have actually done this, risked his medical license, risked his life. Because imagine if the chiefs who came, came and killed him too in anger. You've killed our king. You also have to die. Because there was a risk to that as well. Do you think it could have been possible?
I wish to think that it didn't happen. I wish to think it didn't happen. But what I find strange is that, we don't have any documentation on what actually happened, but saying he got an allergy. I guess that documentation is somewhere, because premature death is preventable. So there are many things that can happen. I would say in the best case scenario, it's an incident, a malpractice.
Yes.
Even if when it is a malpractice, it has to be known also and dealt with. We have no data about that, what actually happened. Maybe data exists somewhere.
Rwanda has not yet tried to find that file.
Well, I'm not aware of that, but I think we should try. If it isn't done, we should try to know what actually happened.
No, I think it's important to even make sense of that time, because we cannot just go around not knowing what happens to our leaders.
If that explanation that was given, definitely it is a preventable death. Preventable death means it could have been avoided. Did the doctor ask if there is any allergy? Yes or no, as we know it. Was there history of penicillin injection before? Yes or no? Every answer to that raises a number of cascading of other issues.
Yeah.
So in absence of data, of course,
There's
people
suspicion.
can look at, what is happening in the other political entities around Rwanda and draw conclusions.
Yeah. And it doesn't really help that if I'm the Belgian state and I'm saying, hey, we didn't do anything wrong, I'd have gone out of my way to show how innocent I am.
Yeah.
And I have not seen them do that. They hide files, they don't share.
Classified.
Everything is classified. And the worst thing, I think, the thing that annoys me the most is that they want us to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Never bring it up.
Yeah.
Don't embarrass them. Let bygones be bygones. It's madness.
You know, taking people for granted that who are you to start questioning
Us.
us? You are the providers. You didn't have any doctor.
We gave you a doctor. No, so you
don't deserve the same ethical consideration as us.
Every so often, I wonder if young people understand, I'm not going to say who our enemies are, but sometimes it's good to actually know who you're dealing with. Because I sometimes look at the world as it is today and the messaging that we get and who they tell us our heroes are, who the good guys are, who are the bad guys. I think some of these, what you've discussed right here, the question that we should then ask ourselves fundamentally is, who's on our side? Who are the true enemies of our progress? And as young people, especially in this confusing time, I think in your generation, it was a bit easier to see your enemy. Because your enemies were killing you. Like they did not hide the machines of death against you. I think with this younger generation, the enemy is a bit more sly. They go through the corners. They're wolves in sheepskin. You guys dealt with the wolves. You fought against the wolves, and it's a bit more difficult now to understand. Okay, who is the sheep, and who are the wolves? And I think, by understanding our past and where we've come from, and our struggle against those forces, we have a better understanding of who our true friends are and who our true enemies are. And our true enemies are not ourselves. Because that's also I think one of the challenges of the post-colonial African society is that our enemy, we've made ourselves our enemies. Our neighbors, our friends, they become our enemies. And I think that's maybe understanding the story of the Rudahigwas and the Prince Rwagasores and Patrice Lumumba, and understanding who killed the hope of our future will help us understand who's doing that today. I would like to move on from this. I would like to kind of have a better understanding of your life in Kayibanda's time. You mentioned, the lies that your father was given, but still you lived. He did not immediately go to exile. Actually, you did quite well. You did quite well because the early 70s came about and you were in university, the only university in the country, studying medicine. How in the story that we hear of that time was that there were these quotas, education quotas, work quotas that Tutsis could only get X amount. So how did a young Emile Rwamasirabo end up in medical school? How did you get that opportunity? How did you survive that that discrimination to get one of those? I'm sure there were only a few slots.
A few slots, yeah.
How did you get it?
Well, I think it's a combination of facts. This policy of exclusion the implementation became more systematized during Habyarimana's era. People could always take advantage of other players, you know?
What do you mean?
The priests, the foreign, there's some people that were here in private sector, in the banks and what, were quite influential. There were also old relationship between our parents and some of the new leaders. You know, those old relationships based on you have been to school together, you know, they would help. You know, whenever you have a kid who had done well at school, could always help and push. Those kind of networks. If you looked at the placement of students by the rules from the Ministry of Education, you don't make it. You always had to know somebody somewhere, some priests, some old friends to
get you in the door.
So you find, depending on who you know, your parents know, you could try to make it there. I told you about boarding school in Butare. The institution of the groupe scolaire was a traditional. By the way, it was the only official school in Rwanda during colonial time. Most of the schools were owned by the churches.
So that was the only state school, public school.
Yes. That was the only state school during that time. My father, the one who passed away, had studied there. He had studied there agronomy. So in that school, it is relatively more open, ethnic-wise, if we can talk about that, more open, because the colonial doctrine from the 1920s was that only Tutsis were allowed in secondary education. Did you know that? That was the doctrine.
That was a doctrine.
The state doctrine. So seminaries were more open to Tutsis. But the groupe scolaire would accommodate some Hutus. So meaning that during that period, the people that in the government, during the Kayibanda period, you had people from that had gone to seminaries and people that have gone to groupe scolaire. So those links somehow allowed you not to push your children. Now, when after I finished my primary school, because my dad was at the groupe scolaire, and that boarding school, the primary, was linked to groupe scolaire. It was relatively
easy to move.
Easy for me to move into the groupe scolaire. So, up to 6 years, the selection, the political selection started when I finished primary school into the secondary school. That's why the selection, the ethnic selection came in. And but it was not very strong because apparently many Tutsis were able to jump into secondary schools. It became harder and harder,
The higher you
the
went.
higher you go. After the 3 years in secondary, there was
Troncomer,
another,
you call it
troncomer,
troncomer.
Then again they will start, extracting the few Tutsis that had moved into secondary school. So that one I passed,
You survived Troncomer.
survived that one up to the end of secondary. Now, at the end of secondary, towards the end, in 5th year, 6th year, seniors 5, senior 6, they started bringing scholarships because the university started in 1963. It was not yet very developed. And they were recruiting students to go to universities in Europe. That has been one of the most painful periods. Because the embassies would come to advertise.
Scholarships.
There were so many scholarships. They were able to absorb all the students in secondary schools in Rwanda. But there were restrictions. So we would start seeing the military cadets come to recruit. So the commander was a Belgian, would come.
Commander of what?
Of the military cadets for officers.
In Rwanda?
In Rwanda.
The Rwandan army?
Yes.
Wait,
In secondary, in the senior 5, they would come into schools.
No, go slowly. So the head of the officers' school was a Belgian still.
Yes.
And this is...
Commandant de Groot.
So, and this was after independence?
After independence, of course.
So our army was still led by the Belgians?
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay. Okay.
So this guy would come and, talk about the requirements to become an officer to the
National Army.
So he would say, of course, you understand who can join and who cannot join. So that was very clear to everyone.
He said that himself.
Yes. So if you move ahead and fill the form, knowing very well that you are not allowed in, it would cause you trouble. So we wouldn't fill the form. You understand? That's a senior 5, end of senior 5. So senior 6 starts. So all the embassies start coming in. Belgian embassy. They said we have scholarships in engineering, medicine, and you would fill the forms. They would not really prevent you. But of course, they would say the last choice is government.
They're the last decision maker.
Then the French would come in. Then European, you would fill all the forms, but knowing very well that likelihood, based on you had all the requirements, the academic scoring, you had everything. But the decision will come after everything. So you would see the Belgian, the French would come, the European Union, the Germans, the Soviet Union would come. All of these. So you'd find in a classroom of 30, like 25 would go abroad. And you remain like
5 of you.
Now, there was the University of Rwanda, which was created by Canadians and funded by Canada. So the risk was that the university did not have candidates.
Because they were all being taken by the Europeans.
So the Canadians would put pressure on the government to say, if there are no candidates for this year, we close the university. So some of us were lucky.
They had no choice but to
They had no choice.
Because there are none of you left.
Yes.
So all your colleagues had already left.
Yes.
So like you said, out of 30 students, 25 have gone. So there's only 5 of you.
Yeah.
All of you obviously being either Tutsi or
Or
not great students.
Or minority of the minority
Yes.
with no influence.
Yes. And then because of this new university, which is the University of Rwanda, they said, we need students.
Otherwise, we'll close it.
So the government had no choice.
They had no choice. Sometimes you just get a chance of, opportunities that are offered by...
So the discrimination worked against you on one side, but then it worked for you.
And interestingly, in 1973, the main complaint was that the University of Rwanda, the National University of Rwanda, is dominated by Tutsis. You get it?
Yeah.
And what does it mean? We were about 500 students in 1973.
In the whole university?
The whole university. Tutsis were 120. That was too much. That was too much. And interestingly, in 1973, in Feb, I read a newspaper from Belgium, which still exists, called Le Libre Belgique. In the front page was Rwanda, revolution continues. The institutions and again dominated by Tutsis.
That was
You can
from
go
a
and
Belgian
check
newspaper.
Libre Belgique in February 1973. You can go and check. They're there. So you can see these things are deeper than people believe.
No, I'm still shocked by something that you said earlier, which is literally our armed forces were still being commanded by Belgians, and they were also the perpetrators of discrimination.
Yeah.
So
But you see, we're talking about Belgium. What about other embassies? How did they accept that they discriminate? By the way, there's something I did not put very clear. The same way we would not be given the form to enter the cadets, but the embassies would come with a list of students whom the application form was be given to. We were not given application forms.
So all these global powers, these people were actually part of the system.
So complacent, yes.
They're complicit. They knew what they were doing.
They knew. So it is not the Belgians only. So they had accepted
Apartheid
openly.
Was that, because now you're...
And it's translated into what happened in 1994, when they are not able to put their foot down, at least save their staff in their embassies.
Because they had normalized apartheid.
Many of them left, flew out to Rwanda, but their staff were exterminated almost in front of their eyes.
You are very, you're very political now. When would you say that your political awakening came about around that time? the late 60s, early 70s. That's when you...
I think it's really when we came back from in 1964, and when you started realizing the system, how it, of course, there are so many things. People that are put in prison, people that are refused, segregated for jobs, you know? Look at the people, the kind of job that people were doing. All these things, it makes you become aware of the injustice, especially when you're a kid. There's no way you cannot see it.
And how do you...
And accepted by everybody. Everybody.
And you just, you talked about something that broke your heart, and the fact that everyone else would get those opportunities.
So the people that got forms, application forms in senior 5 are the same people that get the Belgian forms, the French forms, the German forms, European Union, even Soviet Union.
Even the communists.
You know? And that one, when you're a kid and you see it.
It can radicalize you.
Sure.
In 1973, you're 22 years of age by now. You're in the medical school. You're forced to leave the country again.
Yeah.
So you've been exiled twice. Why did your family leave again? It seemed like you had not gotten comfortable. Gotten comfortable is the wrong word, but you had. Whether it was you had somehow made it to school. Your family might have settled within the system. What happened to make your family decide that, you know what, we need to leave again?
You know, 1973 was a national, crisis.
What happened?
1973 was there was internal wrangles in the ruling class. Kayibanda was from the south, Gitarama and the south, and the Habyarimana. The bulk of the Rwanda army, especially the officers, were from the north. The colonial setup, it. In many countries, you find the same things. Yeah, the army officers are from one region, the political actors are from another region. That you find it in many countries.
Actually, that's a very interesting observation, if I can. Because obviously, there were the Bachiga and the Banyanduga on the south. In Uganda also, which is, I had never actually thought about it. In Uganda, you had the same. The leadership were the Baganda, who were from central and the south.
In Burundi.
And the army came from the northerners.
Yeah.
Nigeria as well.
Even in Burundi, the army officers was the people from the south, and the king and the administration was from the central region.
That is
so. There's always been that. This is the post-colonial order. When they left the countries, that's how
that's how they created those countries.
That's how they created. The same in Nigeria.
The officers come from the north, and then
even DRC, the officers were from Mobutu's. Then the administrators were the Baluba and the Bakongo. That's post-colonial arrangement everywhere. You find the same everywhere. In Togo, in Benin, Ivory Coast, everywhere. So
interesting.
Those internal fights came to the coup d'etat, because obviously people talk about so many stories about the coup d'etat, who are the powers behind. It is suggested that the coup d'etat was done with the support from outside. That one I'm not very well informed. But what eventually happened, the army officers took power, Habyarimana took power in 1973. By the time he took power in July. I had left in February 1973.
Why had you left? Why did you leave?
Because you see, the process of the coup d'etat, it took time. So they created crisis in the country to destabilize the regime. And one way of destabilizing the regime was that claim that the Tutsis are reorganizing and are too many in the system. They started from the university, but there was other secondary schools as well. And interestingly, the white fathers, Belgian white fathers, were very instrumental in setting up those things. They are well known. Read Antoine Mugesera's book.
When you say setting up those things, what do you mean? Creating
revolts, chaos in schools. You know, chasing Tutsis in seminaries, in secondary schools and universities. And it's very well detailed. Read Mugesera's book. You'll get all the names, all the priests that were behind.
Were the priests white people?
White people. You know, this place here down at you know where they're building St. Paul? St. Paul.
Yeah.
You know the St. Paul?
Yeah, next to Saint Famille.
Yeah. That's where really hardliners or these Belgian white fathers used to organize. No, but you should read Mugesera's book.
Yes.
Yeah. There is a French and a Kinyarwanda version. Read them. Because he's good at bringing up the facts with names. And you know, these guys, they were openly. So that 1973, that campaign started with raising awareness among the population that there's a danger, the Tutsis are back.
We had chased them, but we haven't finished them.
They have not finished them. So they started with schools. They started with the National University of Rwanda in Butare, I think on the 15th of February, 1973. I remember the day. Because we were having a normal university life, you know, having sports activities after 5, you know. And then when we came back to the dormitories, we found a list saying, so and so and so, these Tutsis should leave the campus before midnight.
Were you on the list?
Yes. Otherwise, we are not sure what will happen to them.
Do you know who put up the list?
But we know the groups. The extremist groups. Many of them were found in you know, the government that came up after Habyarimana death.
The Tabazi, yeah.
Yes. All those guys were there.
Sindukubgabo.
No, that one was older. Was our teacher, by the way. Pediatrics. Professor of pediatrics.
My goodness. So you read that thing and you immediately pack up your bags.
Those ones that at the beginning, we looked at it and we didn't believe that was serious. There's no way. Huh? It was not signed. We didn't believe it was serious. I didn't believe it was serious. But there are people that believe it was serious. They ran away in the forest, through the forest. So
you stayed a bit longer.
We stayed a bit longer. And we actually never slept because these people were there waiting.
What do you mean?
They for some time, it's very difficult to give you a whole...
No, but I want to understand this. So you were playing sports. You come back to your dorms. You find the list of names. You see your name. Your fellow colleagues see their names.
Around here,
Right? So they run away.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Some ran away. Others did not.
You stay. But you don't... I'm sure at some level there was a lot of terror in your heart. You were scared.
We got scared when they started beating up people.
Was it the same night?
Same night. It was midnight. Then we tried to sneak out.
So you stayed, but so was there like groups?
Yes, there were groups around.
Okay, so you were surrounded by this.
Yeah, we were surrounded. We would look through the window. We find people.
And
so
were they students? Were they fellow students?
Fellow students.
You knew them. Okay.
You know them.
Do you meet some of them still?
There is most of the people that were there. They were in exile.
The ones who surrounded you.
Their children, very active in this. What is this? This radio station in Belgium. You know the one I'm talking about?
Jumbo News.
Yes, that Jumbo News. Some of their fathers.
So their fathers were outside in that mob.
Yes.
That wanted to kill you guys.
So when we tried to sneak out from another exit, we realized it was also blocked.
Oh.
So we waited for them to fall asleep. This guy never saw us. So we got out in the morning.
Because everyone was asleep.
No. Because they started breaking windows. We had how do you call these music players of that time? You can't. We used to have a good music player in our room together with my friend. So these people said, we know there is a good cassette players. And they broke the window and came to steal it. And then we sneaked out through the door.
So through their greed, that's how you survived. Wasn't there campus security?
Well, come on.
No, I'm just...
Come on. Come on. Security. There was security, but the security was...
To protect them.
For them. Yeah. To make sure they are working properly.
Yes.
So when we sneaked out, we moved through the exit and we found a crowd there.
It was you and who else?
With my friend Joseph, my roommate. He's passed away a long time ago. So we find them there, waiting, cutting, with knives. And the spears.
And these were your fellow classmates?
Yes.
Are there any people who were, because maybe they had come from other faculties, were there people from the Faculty of Medicine there?
Of course.
Guys you had studied with and...
Of course. They were there. They were there. So they started beating us. They threw us on the ground. They started beating us. So all of a sudden, we felt somebody is lifting us and running. They go.
Who was that person?
Bizimungu,
Which Bizimungu?
Pasteur.
He's the one who saved you from the mob. How did he get involved now? Where?
You need to ask him.
So he picked you up and...
So we ran. They come running after us. But when you're threatened, you run faster than them.
They are running to get you. You are running to
Fortunately,
save
there was
your
a
life.
bush.
Yes.
We just went into the bush.
That is in, I think, if you know Huye, the Butare University, yeah, that bush of Kumukoni,
Yeah.
towards the Burundian border.
So we went through the valley, down it, further in the bush. So they
got what they wanted.
they abandoned.
And where do you go?
So there was a family that I knew. I passed that family. I didn't go to that place because they were behind. They would definitely know that I have entered that house, which belonged to a Tutsi man. That was Mr. Kamanzi. Probably know his son who is in Canada, Kamanzi Jean. You know him? If you're in Canada, he's still there. So I said, if I go to this man,
I'll bring my...
all these guys will know that I have gone there. So I moved to another house that belonged to a Belgian that I knew. That's why I went. I told him, these guys are coming. If they see I'm coming here, they might attack here. But that guy was brave, really. He was single. He was brave. So he had 2 guns. He took one and gave me another one.
Who was the Belgian? Was he a
Zach,
teacher?
Zach. No. He was, that place was, do you know what they call IRST?
IRST. The Institute of Research.
Was still under Belgian control. So that guy knew him. They knew him. We used to get time together to another group of...
So he wasn't a stranger to you?
No. So he had 2 guns. He gave me one. He slept in the living room. I went to his room.
Had you ever handled a gun before?
Never. But
So
he showed me how to cock
yes,
and how to shoot. If they come to you,
Yes.
it means I would be dead.
yes,
And just get a few of them.
and that's what he told you.
Yeah.
Just get a few of them.
Yeah, he kept the pistol. Fortunately, these guys were not very brave. They didn't come. They just looked from far. They never came.
They probably said, this white man.
Now, this guy would go out and find out the information. Because when you're in Butare, the closest border is Kanyaro. Then you have Rusizi. Then you have Rubavu. No, he used to go out and get information from me because he knew people in the administration, they would give him news. So he came and told me the people that tried to flee from Kanyaru were already caught. They are in prison. So don't try there. The same for Ruzizi, same from Rubavu. So some of my friends were in jail. So we developed the strategy together. He said, look, he was actually working with a group of archaeologists who were working in Eastern Province. So they used to go there with lots of logistics. He would drive a truck. So he went to his workshop and made kind of a big wooden cache which would fit into the truck, and then with some space where I can hide and park a lot of sacks on top. That's why we left Butare.
Heading towards the Eastern Province.
Yes, of course, because I was a Muzungu. They would stop him at roadblock. I don't know what he would give them money, whatever. Now, he said, let's move together up to the border with Tanzania.
Rusumo.
I thought that was not very good because, what will happen at the border? He said, we'll try and cross. So I stopped in Kigali. Went to I had an uncle living in Nyamirambo. So we go there at night. We, of course, they were all surprised, a lot of, explain the whole thing. Imagine that time there were no newspapers. The radio would not talk about it. There were no phones.
So they had no way to know.
People had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
In Butare.
Yes. In Kigali, they think
They didn't
you're
know.
in school.
So they were surprised to learn, And to cut the whole story short, I stayed a few days there, and eventually I find my roommate, whom I thought was admitted, because I saw them beating him up, stopping him, beating him up, and eventually he was saved by a Canadian priest that was passing there, took him to the hospital. He was hidden, hit on the head. He stayed in the hospital for 2-3 days. Then he brought him to Kigali. That's why I learned he was around. That's why we met again.
You thought he had been finished.
Yes. So we decided we had a plan now to flee through the Eastern Province again. So we eventually moved from Kigali, Kibungo, Nyaruguru, Kagera, TZ. That's how we left. And in that place, these people had no clue, even the mayors, because we met with one mayor who knew my classmate. I said, oh, holidays are starting. Yes, come, let me buy you a drink. With the mayor, he didn't know what was happening in the country. No clue.
One of and that's this interesting thing for me is the way sometimes violence would be decentralized.
Yes.
As you've said, at the National University, there was happening in Butare, things were coming to a head. In Kigali, no one knew what was happening.
Actually, one thing that was very, very clear, we didn't know who was in charge, who was running all these things. There were different groups that, doing different things. So these guys didn't know, the mayor didn't know what was going on. We stayed 2 days at Nyaruguru. And then we made contacts with people from the border. The
smugglers.
Yeah, the smugglers. We actually left the border as smugglers. We're going to smuggle things. So we gave them some little money. They were Tanzanians, Banyambo. So we crossed the Akagera into Tanzania. You know, our thinking was, if we cross the border, we are in Tanzania and if everything is finished. But we didn't know we are landing into a national park. So we had to travel 2 days to get to the road.
So food, water.
The food was really there are a lot of lakes there and fish. And those guys know how to fish. Then you get matoke in the wild. So we are okay. I mean,
just a long walk.
And we were drinking the water that was available there. So we traveled 2 days later, we get to the road.
That's you, your friend, and smugglers.
And the smugglers. So they left us at the road that goes to a place called Rulenge.
Did the people your uncles who you'd left in Kigali, did they know that your plan was exile?
Yeah. Actually made a plan with them. And one of them had a family in Ngara, Tanzania. So our focus was
to get to Ngara.
So we get to Ngara, and then we land into some Rwandese communities. There are many here, I found out.
So your uncle's family, let me one of the things that I've truly never fully understood was, why did some people leave? Why did some people stay?
The information. So what?
Because you came and they did not know.
We told them. We found people in Kigali are going to work.
But
normally.
Yes.
We tell them those things. Everybody thought that they are limited to schools. Because people are going to work and come back, have lunch and go back to work. And, I guess. So they didn't see this as...
I guess it's normalized violence, where it happens in pockets.
Yes.
You never think, it's going to happen to me.
If you came to Kigali that time, there wasn't fire. People would go out, have a drink.
Yes.
There wasn't, apparently there was no insecurity at all. Yeah.
So then why didn't you just stay in Kigali then?
No, I couldn't.
Yes.
Because you see on the roadblocks, they are looking for students from the university.
Did they know who?
Of course, they had everything.
So they knew the list.
They had the list.
That Emile Rwamasirabo is a
That's
wanted
how people
man.
find themselves in jail. They want them to a court. Because people were crossing in Rusizi normally. But the ones that tried to cross, they were caught.
So the lists had been distributed across the country.
Yeah.
So that means that there was some level of state. It wasn't decentralized. There were
some players up there.
Big players.
Yeah. It was like as us, the way we were. We were the common enemy of all the groups.
Yes.
There was a consensus that we were
the students, Tutsi students, they were the enemy of the entire nation.
Sure.
Jesus Christ.
And when we just crossed to TZ, I remember we crossed by 9:30 in the morning. We were there. And we sat, asked my friends, just give me one reason these things are happening to us. One thing. Is there anything I had done? Because we lived together in the room. You couldn't even send a letter abroad. we were so much aware of the danger of interacting with anybody from outside Rwanda that we were not writing letters. Is there anything that you think I did
to deserve this?
Deserve this treatment? He said, no, of course. So why? I said, why are you asking me that question?
He's
you
also
don't know.
confused. He's also, I'm in your same shoes.
You know? So I said, what's going to happen? We are finished. Now we are finished. We say goodbye.
You've left
We've left. Goodbye. I said to him, no. You know, I had that feeling. I don't know how to explain it.
In 73.
I had that feeling that one day we'll be back.
The movie has not ended.
That something I remember I told him. There's no way. There's no way.
That should have that you know, sometimes
You know, remember we were 22.
Yeah.
Young.
But that sense of injustice
must
have been burning a huge fire inside you.
Sure.
And over time, it's not that it was just that moment. It had a decade.
So you become aware that injustice has been applied to you with no single cause, apart from being who you are. In total, in total acceptance by everybody.
The society.
Everybody.
The church, the teachers, the mayor.
The countries, the other countries, everybody.
Even the international community is just, you know what?
So you feel like, you feel bad, actually. You feel very bad. Especially, you see, I was 22, but there were people that were younger than me that had experienced even worse than that.
So then how does that young man, that 22-year-old, who's now sitting in a swamp, end up in France studying medicine?
You see,
and becoming a...
When you... One thing that that shaped your mindset. You know, things become very simple. So either I make it or
you die.
Die or, become useless. Which is different from today. Today there are options. Today there are options. I can go to any country. I can become even an immigrant through the Mediterranean Sea. Those options were not there before. So schooling would be one of the exits. If you had, if you felt by pursuing schooling, education was one way of normalizing your life. So you'd really put focus on your education. You have to be good. You have to keep looking for opportunities. Now, when we were at TZ, when we reached Ngara in TZ, the people there asked what we want to do. They said, we want to continue medicine. They said, here in Tanzania, the system as it is, it will be difficult because you are going to be taken to Bukoba kind of settlement, and then you try to go to medicine from Bukoba. So we knew definitely staying in Tanzania was not an option. We said we want to go to Kinshasa because we know there was a university that was teaching.
How do you move?
So through Burundi, we knew we could go to Kinshasa through Burundi. You know? We could, because we had relatives in Congo. They said, let's go to Kinshasa.
Okay, so let's go slowly.
So we knew it was possible because
you know, sometimes often when I talk to the old men and old women of your generation, you jump moments
because there are so many stories.
But it doesn't make sense. So you fled your university. It's not as if you fled with your documents.
Yeah.
You haven't traveled with your transcripts. You're saying that you want to study medicine. Can you even prove at this point? Because when you go to university, what do they ask you? They ask you for your transcripts.
Indeed, that was a problem.
Right? Not only that, you're also now saying, because I want to understand the mentality that created the person that is sitting here today. So you flee your home. You go to Ngara. You're sitting down with your relatives. And now you're saying, okay, how do we see my future? I want to go back to medical school. But you
because
don't have,
education
is the only way to get. But you don't have.
No, that was very secondary. The issue of documents.
But you don't have documents. You don't have did you even have a passport?
We didn't have.
Okay.
So you just we're like these illegal immigrants.
So how do you sit down?
The reasoning was we looked at all options. Going to medical school in Tanzania
is a no-go.
It wasn't easy from what they told us. Believe them. You believe them. We were open. Then we looked at the University of Burundi. We didn't know really much, and it was a university that was not very developed. The one we knew was Kinshasa, because we had friends and relatives that had gone there, that had left Rwanda, went to study there. So we said we are going to cross through Burundi. From Burundi to Kinshasa is going to be easy. So, that's how you make your decision. Now, we arrived in Burundi, we meet actually.
Where does your money come from?
We had some shillings. We left here. They gave us some shillings.
From Gara or Rwanda?
From Kigali. We had
your
some
uncles
shillings.
Gave you some shillings.
Yes. The cost of living in Tanzania was very low. With 1 shilling, you can eat for 2 days. So we said, let's cross to Burundi. Actually, the way we left Tanzania to Burundi was another very, very interesting. Because the system in Tanzania was so stiff. That was the time of socialism, Ujamaa. That once you have entered, getting out wasn't easy. So we had to wake up at 3 a.m., leave the place that they had put us, walk at the border. By the time they woke up in the morning, we had to cross the border.
You entered Burundi illegally.
Yeah. So they told us, don't joke. Just wake up at 3 a.m. They showed the road to go there. There was one road. So we would meet these big chimpanzees on the road, because the whole of that place was a national park. By 7, we were entering Burundi.
It's you and your other friend.
Yes. So when we get there, the Burundians, the customs officer didn't understand, We told them we were coming from Rwanda. From Rwanda. through Tanzania. He said, so we stayed the whole day there. And eventually it was settled out. We moved to the nearest, the provincial city, then to Gitega, then Burundi, then Bujumbura.
No passports.
Nothing. Because everything, even though we found Burundi was also in a hot water, because that was 1973, but 1972 in Burundi was...
They're dealing with their own issues.
Yeah. So eventually getting to Bujumbura, and we found that students were accommodated to a certain place. So we joined the group. So from there...
You just mixed with the students.
Yes. So from there, I mean, the refugees, they had been getting refugees from Rwanda. So they put students together. There were many theories at that time. Because Rwanda had a plan to attack Burundi that time. So we were told, but this I cannot confirm, that in case Rwanda attacks, we shall be going to fight. But this, I cannot confirm it.
Yes.
I have no confirmation. But it was hot. Now, you asked me about
how do you get to France? So now you're in
my degrees and whatever.
Yes.
So we get there
to Bujumbura.
There were people in the university. The academic registrar of the university.
The University of
Rwanda, National University of Rwanda, was a Canadian priest. The same priest who had saved my roommate. So because there were people, that were crossing, because the Bazungu were crossing freely. We sent a message to him, telling him that our university documents are there. Can he send them? So that guy sent everything, our files.
Fantastic.
That priest actually died from here last year. He was here.
That's a good man.
Just got all the files, send them. That's how we got the...
You had your documentation.
The documentation. Some of them, I'm still using them today. So that's how it happened. Then from there, so of course we engaged the UNHCR. The UNHCR that time was not paying any scholarship for students, but eventually they accept us to pay some minimum fee to study in University of Burundi. So the University of Burundi was not yet very developed. So after second year, the people had to go either to France or to Kinshasa or some other. We eventually managed to get scholarship to Senegal. That's why I did my third year, fourth year, fifth year.
And that one is you traveling on a refugee passport.
That's where I met my French professor who took me to France.
The boy from Nyaruguru is now in France.
So when I went to France, I did my postgraduate in surgery, then worked a few years, then moved back to square one.
So in 1979, where were you?
I finished my medical school and moved to France.
So you were in France in 1979.
I think I I went slightly to Burundi and then to France.
The reason I'm bringing up 1979 is for those who don't know, 1979 was the year that RANU was formed, the Rwandese Alliance for National Unity. And that one, if anyone understands Rwandan,
Sure.
the history, it was almost the forebearer of the RPF. And that one was formed in East Africa from
Nairobi.
people your age, people like you who thought about the injustice of the refugee experience and said, well, how do we figure out a way to get back home? Now, were you aware of what was cooking around that time, or nothing?
No. You know, there was the political awakening was really uneven. When you look at the Central Africa and East Africa, was uneven. So I remember even when my political awareness and understanding in terms of how do you develop what should be the political orientation of you as a group, not as myself, as a group, and how do you move forward together? That aspect of political awareness was still very limited, very limited.
It was still very much about your own personal feelings of injustice.
You feel frustrated as you and as a group, but you are not seeing
a way out.
That was the thing. I think most of us were like that. Now, interestingly, when I moved with my fellow medical students to Dakar, Dakar University was very politicized university, but politicized in the way that students at the campus get politicized, of demonstrating, writing pamphlets, but the practical mobilization is not there. But at least it helps for me to understand what are the big issues in the world. What is Africa? What is Rwanda? What happened to Rwanda? How do you link up what happened to Rwanda, to DRC, to Burundi, to other places? Because I remember that time, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Guinea-Bissau, Angola, they were still colonized. So the politics at the campus would be decolonization. The fact that our understanding of real world politics was not very high, but at least we were aware that something needs to be done. So 1979 in East Africa, the political awareness in the Rwandese community, I think, was higher because, they were able to sit and say, if you want to get a solution to Rwandese refugees issues, one, we have to unite, we have to get a political orientation, a vision, and a vision that is comprehensive. You know, the fact that they brought up this question of national unity, you know, it's that time. If you brought the same issue in our world, it would be difficult to understand. When we were students at Dakar, of course we are refugee students, but there were also Rwandese students that were sponsored by Habyarimana government. So we had two organizations of Rwandese. And the other student couldn't understand why you come from the same country, you have two organizations. Of course, we were telling them, look, we are here, we are refugees. These guys are sponsored by government. We don't mind if they come and we campaign at the same. But of course they couldn't, because they said to us, we
We're not
would
like
be
you.
willing to come, but if we come, our scholarship will be terminated. But still, you know, we were trying to engage them on the issues. Why are we refugees? Why? None of them would talk.
You mean them as being your fellow Rwandans?
Yes.
Who are there on government scholarship?
Now we used to, even in other places, I remember when I was still a student, I managed to travel to Belgium, and we attended the Rwandese Students Association national conference in Belgium. So they had made an agenda, and we said, well, we are Rwandese, but we are refugees. We proposed that we put on the agenda, why are we refugees? They said, no, we cannot do this. If we do this, blah, 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 you know? So to come back to 1979 and the RANU creation, that was a very important step because they were able to read through our history and the contradictions and draw an 8-point program, political program, that definitely is still relevant today, which I think was a landmark. It was a landmark event.
To be able to articulate the problem and then to articulate the solution.
Vision. Yeah.
You know, you finished your schooling and you worked in France. Now, I'm assuming that you were comfortable. You were living a comfortable a comfortable European existence. Interestingly enough, in 1987, you decide to leave France to go and live in Uganda. Now, if you had chosen to go back and live in, say, Burundi or Tanzania, it would make sense because there was at least a linkage between your past and your knowledge of the place. You chose Uganda. Why?
That's a really very interesting question. You know, when I was living in France, I think the last 2 years I was an established surgeon, financially comfortable. But interestingly, I never felt that comfort. And knowing that my community just suffering, Burundi, in Congo, in Tanzania, in Uganda, because remember, 1982, Obote chased away the Rwandese community, and many died in the park here. whenever you feel comfort, but there's also always an event that comes to tell, hey, don't feel that comfortable.
Your people are dying.
You've got a problem.
It keeps reminding you.
Yeah. So to be honest, I do not believe when I was feeling comfortable.
There was always something.
I'm telling you from my side, not somebody's side. I never remember a time where I was feeling comfortable, planning to stay in France. Because from 1986, I started visiting African embassies in Paris. I visited Uganda embassy couldn't visit. But I eventually did it later. I visited TZ embassy. And I met somebody, a diplomat there. I don't know if he was a Rwanda, but he said, my friend, I understand you, but I would advise you, don't go there.
To Tanzania?
So I didn't insist. They traveled even to Kinshasa. They had hospitals, private clinics. But after 2 weeks, I knew I can't stay
You can't
here.
live in this place.
Can't live in this place.
Why?
I visited the place, a hospital. I visited the emergency department. Women were laying in the emergency. We're just crossing over them. And this was the biggest university hospital. I can't work here. Just can't work here. That was during Mobutu era. That was the hospital Mama Yemo.
It was impossible for you.
No, I said no. So I had also applied to go to Gabon, but so for some reason, I wasn't also comfortable going to there. It was a wealthy country with good salaries. It's difficult, to really understand what comes first when you are in a certain mindset. You feel injustice. You feel like you are contributing to your people's well-being. It's difficult to know what is driving you. Because I was saying, if really the issue is about stability, then I stay in France. Because actually every year they come to you, ask you to fill the form the application form for citizenship when you are working in the hospital there.
Of course.
And
you're still stateless at this time.
Yeah. Now, come 1986. People travel. The information we are getting is from mouth to mouth. So we apparently had people that were traveling from Uganda. And come and tell us, after NRA took over.
That's Museveni and his group.
So they tell us what's happening. The people there. It changes your understanding and your future
What do you
projection.
mean? The people there.
You know, you learn that they are committed Rwandese that had decided to go back home.
But this is 1986.
86, yes.
So they.
That I remember it was Feb 86.
So you
So
meet
people,
someone and
people started coming.
and they're telling you what? That there's some
That
there's a group.
That the group trained soldiers that helped to overcome the Obote government in Rwanda that are planning.
So even in 86,
Yes.
there were rumbles.
Yes. And I think it's you have no idea what that information makes a change in people's minds. For me, it did. That's why when I traveled in 1987 to Kampala to see with my own eyes, that is definitely the same day I arrived. The season was final. I'm go finish my contract and come back.
What
That was September. My contract was ending in December. And come back. Don't ask me the details.
No, I'm asking you. What did you see?
I saw all these young Rwandans. I conversed with them.
And that's what? Those are the
I
Fred
conversed with them.
and
I conversed with
Chris
them. And you know, the very interesting thing, the day I landed in Kampala, I was hosted by my friend John Rusagara of Sundowner. And we went to a nightclub called Angenois. I met all these officers you're talking about, Bayingana, Chris, Winyezi. They said, Doctor, are you coming back to join? I said, yes, I'm coming. That
was all.
That was all.
Like you saw them, they saw you, and they said,
yes.
Not a lot of
no
conversations. No. They just asked you, are you coming back to join us?
Yeah.
And immediately.
Yeah.
It sounds as if you were always ready.
Yeah.
It was like a bullet from a gun, just waiting for the trigger.
That was it. But everything's here.
You go back to France.
You go back, I finished my contract, packed my things, back.
But you have to, you have to earn a living. Why, right?
You know, it was very interesting also because that time, the country was getting organized. So the fact that the country is not yet organized, the finances are not really good, did not look as a challenge. Didn't look as a challenge. Because I remember what I used to tell them. Because some people then in Kampala said, Doctor, you're used to European style, the way you are dressed. Are you going to survive here? I said, I look at you, you look well. If you're okay, me will be okay too. That was it. So I was appointed at Mulago Hospital as a consultant. My salary was $60 a month. But I was facilitated by government. I had where to stay. They were paying for my food, my transport.
You were okay.
I was okay. I was very much okay. Now, from there, of course, you meet Rwandese. And one day I got a visit by Honorable Tito and Honorable Zeno.
Mutimura.
So I knew where they were coming for, and to find out who I am, and we talked not a very long time.
They found you at the hospital?
No, where I was staying.
At the hotel?
They asked me, have you heard about the RPF? Yeah, I did. Are you ready to join? I said, of course. Then they said there have to be a formal sworn in. They made me swear.
In the hotel with you?
In the room there. Then they told me you're going to be assigned a group, a cell, where you're going to be working from. That's where I just started.
This is what, 87, 88?
88, because I came back in February 88.
So you started working now?
Yeah.
Clandestine?
Yeah. Going to political schools in the bush there. So that's how it started. Then it moved so fast.
How exciting must it have been?
Well, I don't know whether it is exciting for everybody, but for me it was. Because I was in a machine. I was feeling like I'm in a machine that's moving, that nobody can stop. You feel like
you're part of something great.
You're so powerful that nobody can stop it. You understand that feeling?
Especially if you come from a place where, because I'm thinking, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, where your entire life was
just
injustice.
Suffering.
And then all of a sudden, you're now part of the solution for not only your own problem, but the entire problem of your entire, it must be, that's why I asked you, I was like, it must have been so exciting that finally we have an answer.
Yeah.
And there's a plan.
There's a plan.
Not just frustrations and
we're not alone, we are many. Because you see, we're getting our cadres that are training us. You find they would have traveled to other countries, Burundi, running political schools. They would tell you stories. In Burundi, Congo. So you feel there's a global movement, and you're part of it. And you feel very strong, even if you know you're not very rich, you don't have all that you want.
And I think the fact that the young men and women who were in the NRA at the time who were Rwandans, it was almost a proof of concept. Museveni had been able to rebel and win the war. So all of a sudden there was a proof of concept that this could be done, that we could actually put our might together and defeat this machine. It must have been. Sometimes my regret is that I wasn't there for that time. That I was too young, and all I can do is ask people like you to take us back to that time, to understand why I guess Rwanda is what it is today, because that time formed us. Must have been fascinating.
No, it was, of course, it wasn't straightforward process. The good thing when the movement started running, it was able to reach out to many people with a more structured narrative, which is different from us, because you're hearing something. You would be told that there's somebody called Tito Rutarimara in a certain place in France, but you didn't have anything structured, a narrative that was structured. So that it took time to get the people. But once the movement started working in an organized way, we had the chance of reaching out to many people. And it grew very fast, especially after 1987. The good thing was that, those meetings at the cell level.
Where were you meeting? Okay, when you talk about cell level, were you talking about groups of 5, 10? Was it
about 20?
20 in people's homes? And what would that meeting look like?
The meetings, we would have a chairman, and the agenda would be almost the same. We would talk about, current affairs, meaning what is going on in the world. And then the cadres would come and train us on political awareness. We had a lot of those.
Who was your teacher? Who are they?
They were changing. They were changing. There are many people that you see outside here.
I don't know who they are.
There are some that in a certain position that probably not comfortable to mention here.
So
but
that they were in, they're part of the teachers.
Yeah. But obviously, Tito Rutarimara,
he'd come, he'd teach.
Yes, he's a grand teacher. The Musoni, Prates, was one of our teachers. The Christine, the Nyumba, they were teachers. Many.
Did you ever you've all of them sound like the civilian side of the RPF. Did you get a chance to also to interact with the military, the Dugutes, the Freds? Did they also get a chance to actually interact with them?
To be some of them, but not on political engagement, more or less informally. That period was a little bit delicate, because there was a sense of ensuring that you don't run into security issues, because there was a big deployment of Rwandan security agencies in Kampala. Spies, very many. And we were really advised not to be putting the movement into trouble. So we're very, very careful. But during those sales meetings, many people who had grown up in Uganda didn't know about Rwanda. So talking about Rwanda was like really, especially when I used
like
to tell them, I knew.
Yeah.
They couldn't believe. They couldn't believe. They thought everybody had died in Rwanda. So then comes October 1st.
the boys leave.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take for you to, because I know that you joined them as well.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take for you to join your colleagues?
Well, you see, at the beginning, of course, there was a lot of issues, logistical issues. We, in the political wing, we dealt with mostly logistical issues.
When you talk about logistical issues, what do you mean?
I mean, when people cross, they have to eat.
Clothing, medicine.
Everything, yeah. So, so those things need to be worked on. You have to get the money, buy them, mobilize them, send, or to support the army. So me personally, I became very much involved in both supplies and medical supplies, and all things medical. So I've been really doing
Back and forth.
In actually the whole time of struggle.
You were not based in, say, the
mostly in
mountains.
Burundi, but I had to go back sometime, get things, so.
You were actually in charge. I know you don't want to say, but like, if I'm not mistaken, you had been deployed as head of pretty much logistics
and supplies. That was
your responsibility.
Yeah. But it was we had somehow decentralized, because many of the things would come from different regions. When you say regions, means a structure, a therapy of structure, which was, for Burundi was a region, Congo was a region, Tanzania was a region. In Uganda, it was the central Uganda, western Uganda.
And they're all sending money, they're sending...
So they would assemble things. So we had that network. Even in Europe, we had a certain medication. We get people from Europe to mobilize it, bring it, send machines for operations. You get them mobilized from. It was really a structured, decentralized system to get the things. Then there was another commission that was dealing with money to get contribution from people to be able, for example, to buy fuel.
You need fuel.
So it was a very... It was a very, very organized. That's the only... Maybe I'm not aware of many movements that went to that type of struggle that had that level of organization. And we had all the structure of a state. They can probably explain why, when after the genocide, the new state did not take time to materialize, because the structure of the state and how it works and the basic principles of how our state works, we had it. We had a commission of planning, which would plan how are we going to, when refugees go back, what's going to be happening? All these things. People would come from various regions, sit for 2 weeks in the volcano.
Planning.
And plan it, which I think was extremely important. So by the time we move in as not rebel movement, but as a state actor, it was very clear. what need to be done. Maybe we didn't know how to do it right there and there, but we knew what needs to be done.
Although I'm pretty sure you did not factor in that there would be a genocide.
That one, of course, we didn't factor it.
You factored in a normal, maybe civil conflict that then ends with maybe a decisive victory or a negotiated victory, negotiated outcome, and then you figure out that. I don't think
we never
among all your plans.
Yeah.
Is there any time during the struggle where you thought this might not work? Because there was a time, again, like I said, we're recording this on October 2nd. October 2nd is when we lost Major General Fred. A few, maybe less than 2 months later, you lose Chris Bunyenyezi, you lose Bunyenyezi, you lose Peter. So I want people to understand that this was not they were smooth.
There's never been a smooth.
Yes. Was there any time that you're sitting there and thinking, oh my goodness, this might not end the way we want it to end? Or were you always confident?
You see, nobody actually would think what will happen if that situation occurs. Couldn't see what would happen. Of course, you're aware that the first weeks of the struggle were very difficult when the commander-in-chief died. You can imagine. Many people are confused, don't know what happened.
How did you feel?
You see, the first time I felt, I was told. Of course, I bled from the stomach, but I didn't know. I realized there was
like
a problem.
Like an ulcer?
Yep.
Because of the news?
Yep. I bled. I saw it. Understood what was going on. I was not feeling pain. Actually, during that period, you'd work like 24 hours.
Working, doing what?
You don't even... so many other things. Getting things, sending them, and you don't even want to think. You just work. You don't want to think.
You want to avoid thinking.
Yeah. These are self mechanisms to deal with difficult issues. I realized that something was going on with me. I just realized I'm bleeding. But I was not feeling pain. And when the decision was made official, eventually everything settled.
When you say
it took time.
When you said the decision,
the RPF made announcement that the family was dead, and it took time. And that decision was made official. Surprisingly, I felt much better. But in the meantime, when President Kagame came back from the US, when he took over, he reorganized the struggle. You have you know, at the launch, it was a kind of conventional war. People moved in. It was difficult to move in because you see, coming from another country, like desertion, massive desertion, and moving into another country. You don't have even we have to organize yourself inside the country that you're invading and start. But day 2, your commander dies. So how do you move? So it took time until when the president came from the US, President Kagame came from the US, took over. In between, the situation was very confusing.
And you're still there trying
But
to figure out logistics.
We were busy just making sure people, they get what is needed, treating.
Even in that confusion.
Even in that confusion, people were working. We were working. The structure was working. The structure was working. The military was working. But not in a very structured way. But the command was there. But of course, we've a very difficult situation. So when Paul Kagame came in, he reorganized the structure. As you have heard, they organized a small unit for guerrilla war. That's where it really got more structured into small units spreading across the border. So, our activities were constant, day and night. So you don't, if you ask me, what were you feeling? I don't know. I was working. I knew people were busy in the field. I had my assignment. I had to make sure my failure does not
affect them.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I mean, why would? Because surgeons are not a dime a dozen. They're not things that you pick from the trees. They are rare. Why was one of the few Rwandan surgeons not put in the hospitals, and rather, why would they put you in logistics? You're in a war. People get wounded. They need surgical care. You are one of the best surgeons that they have, but they have decided that you are in logistics trying to find, you're traveling all over the world trying to find the necessary tools to continue the struggle. Did you ever ask yourself why you got that responsibility instead of the surgical side of things?
I think in terms of crisis, you look at what are the main issues. You look at the things strategically. I cannot talk from the minds of the leadership that appoints people, but from what I saw, when you have a crisis, before you look at Sani says he's a lawyer, why doesn't he go to the courts and pleads, and why should he be here, creating this content? So in terms of crisis, you look at the priorities. What are the priorities? And who are the people that can do
the job?
And by the way, part of my assignment was really medical supplies and also during surgery. So we had to, most of the time, actually the supplies was more of a coordination than going to the markets, because we had a good team, very energetic guys who would go around. My assignment would be really at coordination.
And you're based in Kampala at this time.
I had been in Kampala. We had an office in Kampala, but also in Rwanda, in Mulindi. But I would join also the sick bays to do the surgeries. So we did a lot of surgery in the bush there with the army medical team. Worked together. Had, of course, the condition under which we are working and not what you know, what you have seen. But we learned a lot. I just hope we'll have the opportunity to put this down in a book.
What did you learn? About what?
About how to do surgery in the bush.
Which is interesting because earlier in your life, you had a chance to work in Kinshasa and you did not want to work in those conditions. 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, you're working in even worse conditions, but somehow making it work.
Yeah. There are two systems. The system that was in Kinshasa was a self-inflicted system, which I was really not comfortable working with. There in the bush, we had a cause, just cause. Working on our people, building a system. By the way, we were building a system. Though we don't have the records, but my perception as a surgeon, we had very good outcomes. Even those people that we operated in the bush, even sometimes very complicated procedures of people that really were badly wounded in the bush with almost nothing, just gloves and some gauze, some rude equipment. And these people got saved and alive with their limbs. So for religious people would say there was the hand of God. I don't deny it. I don't deny it because really it was against some of the things we were doing was against all the principles of surgery.
We're sitting here. You're now 74 years old. You're getting this chance to reminisce, sitting here in the wonderful Marriott Hotel. You have young people recording this conversation. You must, you have a wonderful family. I've been invited into your home. You must feel, that sense of relief, that sense of that sense of happiness that comes with saying, you know what, I've lived a life worth living. Where I came from is no longer where I've come from. The pain of my youth, I fought against those demons and I won. And now I'm sitting here in the country I fought for, enjoying a conversation with someone who could be my son. And I'm passing on this story, and I'm passing on these stories to those listening. It must make you feel that, yeah, this life was worth it. Now, there's something that I always feel a sense of I don't understand, which is you had many colleagues who were of your generation, who went through the pain that you went through, who fought the fight that you fought, and who even had the victory in 94 that you had. But they're not sitting here. They're not sitting in their home. They're not enjoying the fruits of their struggle. You have people like, I dare say, Nyamwasa, Rudahigwa, Furuma. These are men who should be sitting where you are sitting, enjoying the country that they struggled and bled for. It might be hard for me to understand them because I cannot understand that thinking. But maybe you can help me understand this. Where do you think on the revolution, on the path, the revolutionary path, where did they go wrong? Were they always problematic? Or was it something after 94? Did they survive the war only to succumb to the victory? Help me make sense of your age mates. What happened to them?
Of course, it's not easy to answer that question, but it's not uncommon neither. My thinking is right from the beginning. Probably your aims could be different, knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously. While you are aspiring to your country, where you feel free to go and back, you get a passport, you educate your children, you plan for your life in the way that you feel you are in your country and you enjoy being in your country. You may not be getting everything you want, all the wealth that people aspire to, but you feel you are home. You participate in your community life. But maybe also other people. There are some people that would also have the same aspiration of liberating the country, but what do we do after the country is liberated? So probably that's where things start
Falling apart.
That's my interpretation. There are people that probably want more. If they don't get more they wanted, they feel they have other ways of getting it, even if it includes betrayal. It's possible. That's my understanding of the thing. Was it RPF deviation from the primary objective or vision? I don't. I don't, because this has never been highlighted by anybody. I don't think it is the deviation. It is the line. You know, the line that the RPF political program, the 8-point program that became 9, when I look at them, they haven't changed. And, you know, President Kagame summarized it even further, and I'm sure you know the 3 components of his vision. When you look at each of them, it encompasses lots of some of these points in the political program. When he says, I want to think big, is translated, it translates all the things that we talk about in our development of our country. Think big, like UCI, like Formula One, this thing.
Nuclear power.
Yes, nuclear power. Think big, because thinking big not only is beneficial to Rwanda, but it's beneficial even to the surroundings. If all these surrounding country think big, we are going to solve problems, for sure. I think that is shows really that is thinking beyond what we're doing today. They are thinking for these guys tomorrow. I hope they understand what think big means, because their populations are growing. We are 14 million, tomorrow it will be 16 million. If you don't think big, we're not going to sustain the future generation. So it is up to this. So that is RPF. Then when you say we do it together, you know, it takes into account the issue of unity, the issue of Rwanda. Because how do you sustain it if you don't think together? Make sure every person is able to get electricity, drinkable water, healthcare. There's no way you can sustain Umunyarwanda or national unity if the fruits of development are not shared. That's why you see people in slum are dislodged and settled in modern houses. This is not propaganda, it's not siyasa. If you want to sustain what you're doing, you have to make dramatic changes. Then accountability. It is translating a political program in actionable vision. Accountability, if there's no accountability, that's the recipe for chaos, for conflict, for wars. You know, if somebody does not understand that, our people of our generation, if they don't understand that, then it questions. When we are sitting in those places, in those cells, what were our expectations? How do you say, Sonny, I'm a big man, I have to have
Everything.
more than Rwamasirabo? What does it mean? What you are thinking about when you are there? When you accepted that so many of these young men would die during the war, would actually pay the highest price. Was it for your advantage or all of us? So I think people deviate, people become what they deviate what was expected from them. I think because of the expectations before. I think that's my reading. When it happened, I can't tell you when.
I think you've given us a lot to ponder. You've certainly you've allowed me to take you down memory lane, and you've left me with not just a lot of questions, more questions, but you've also given me a lot of answers. Dr. Emile Rwamasirabo, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
on
you.
the long form. This has been a masterclass in history, culture, a little bit of medicine, accountability, RPF, history. And I certainly hope that you've enjoyed spending a bit of time with me.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you, team. And I really enjoyed your questions. Not always easy to answer, but it made me think further, and I enjoyed really.
When shall we see a book from you? That's another thing. Your generation is not writing.
We are not good at writing, but I guess having these young guys around with the advent of AI, it will probably much easier. But I've given myself 2 years.
2 years to write a biography.
I don't know this biography. It would be in the same way, what we're discussing.
I think it's very important.
It's a mix.
I think it's very important that your generation leaves some of the tools, gives us the younger generation a map.
Yeah.
So that we can then, like you said, the country needs to keep growing.
Yeah.
And they're going to pass on the baton to the next group. So I think in 2 years' time, I'll call
you back
and say
2 years is tomorrow.
2027. I'll say, where's my book? Dr. Emile, thank you so much.
Thank
for
you
joining
so
me.
much.
It's been an absolute pleasure and honor. Thank you so much.
And that's a wrap for today's conversation. Thanks for staying with us till the very end. It really means a lot. I'd love to know, what was the one moment that really stood out to you? Drop it in the comments so that we can keep the discussion going. If you want to connect with us beyond YouTube or streaming platforms, you can find us on the social media platform of your choice. And if this has sparked something for you, share it with a friend who'd love it too. Until next time, have a great week.